Okay, so I pretty much want to make a video talking about the Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee. Even though I haven't finished reading the trilogy yet, I have read Jade City and Jade War. I do own Jade Legacy, and I put a hold for the audiobook on Libby. It says 3 weeks. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this month because I do have a few physical books to get through, and Jade Legacy is a long book to read. It's over 700 pages according to my copy. So I will try to see if I can squeeze it in. If not this month, I can squeeze it in the next month. And then the cap here, Hook Me, courtesy of Haryana Hook. You know, you can get this from her store stuff. I'll put the link down below. So yeah, I definitely want to at least talk about it because like I'm trying to see if I can do a new format with my book reviews instead of doing an Instagram post kind of way. Maybe I can do like a video kind of way. So I'll start with, I guess, Jade City. What did I rate this? If it was, I don't think I rated this in Goodreads, but in my kind of like catalog of books that I've read so far this year, I rated it. I put it for 5 stars, but on StoryGraph. I mean, StoryGraph, honestly, you can just follow me, City Girl Writer, City_Girl_Writer. At the StoryGraph for more specific ratings because they actually allow decimals. Because in the decimal format, I rated this 4.5, although I think now, really reminding myself what really was happening in this book, I think it's closer to a 4.25. Therefore, I would be running it down to 4 stars. Because honestly, I wasn't totally sure how to like go about with this series. Since when I read the first and even the second book, I started to notice like, okay, this is not quite a book series that you will get to know what really, like the synopsis. Like the synopsis for this book, what is the synopsis? According to the book, behind the book, it says, for centuries, honorable Greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kaikon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kaikon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. So in a way, this book, even though it's called Jade City, it does have a clan war in it, which I find it very interesting, especially since for Jade War, it has its own kind of war, but in a different sense. So when I was reading Jade City, I was like, wait, why is it called Jade City? But it's really just an introduction, honestly, to the world. Because the world building, that's the thing I have to give props to Miss Fonda Lee. Her world building is impeccable. Like, she created the world on her own. It's not really, like, it's like not historical fantasy. It's just straight up fantasy. Like, she literally made up her own world. See? There's the island of Kaikon right there. And then you have the map of John Loon right there. And that's just from Jade City. But I'll show you what Jade War, the maps on that one. So just like the synopsis says, we do follow the 4 called siblings. Even though by blood, 3 out of the 4 are siblings, and then one of them is a cousin. But that cousin is adopted into the Call family since that cousin doesn't have the Call name. So actually, it's because the cousin is related more on the mother's side, doesn't have the father's Call name. So it's more like, yeah. So they're cousins from the mom side, but that cousin, Amory Andon, or Andy for short, he's been adopted into the family, so he is pretty much like a Call as well. So there's that. So this way, so actually, Chance is not totally wrong for calling it all of them siblings because they were also kind of raised to be siblings. And Andy Andon is the youngest. I think in Jade City, he starts off to being 16, and then towards the end, he's 17, 18 years old, give or take. Like, the course of this book and then Jade War in total is like about 5 years, give or take, 4.5, 5 years. So I think, yeah, the story, the timeline goes fast, especially in Jade War. I was like, what the world? But yeah, so in the Jade City, we meet, we have the system, the clan system. Because this is basically, what is this? Ken Liu blurbed this book as stylish and action-packed, full of ambitious families and guilt-ridden loves. Jade City is an epic drama reminiscent of the Beck's classic Hong Kong gangster films, but takes place in a fantasy metropolis so gritty and well-imagined that you'll forget you're reading a book. Which is pretty accurate. I've never watched any classic Hong Kong gangster films. I've never even watched a gangster film in my life, so I don't know much about the hierarchy and political structure of gangs and clans and stuff like that. I don't understand that, which is why I was really grateful for this one because it explains the structure. So, actually, there was a graphic actually that I found on, I think it was on just Google because I was just looking for more the Greenbone stuff. So there is a hierarchy. You can't really see it. Okay, I think you can see it now. So there's a hierarchy. We have the pillar, who is Lon. He is the oldest of the Call siblings. Then we have a pillarman, which is working directly with the pillar, kind of like the pillar's advisor. We have a horn, who's like a military leader. Think of like a general of the military, but like for the clan. And then with the weatherman, which is pretty much a business leader, you know, part of all the numbers, the numbers, make sure they got the money and the businesses. Because the way that the world is operated here is that the clans, the Greenbone clans, we have No Peak, which is run by the Call family, and then we have the Mountain, which is a rival clan that's owned by the Ite family. And they are rivals. Even though it's funny because the grandfather for the Call family called Sennington, and then the grandfather for the Mountain clan, Ite. What's his name? Shoot, what's the grandfather's name? Another thing too, I really appreciate with Jade War, it does have a list of names and stuff. Let me see. What was the name of the father? Oh yes, Ite Ugantan. Yes. So Call Sennington has been known as the Torch of Kakon, and then Ite Ugantan, who was a former pillar a long time ago, it was also known as the Spear of Kakon, because Kakon was invaded by another country, and I think it's Shatarians. I think it's Shotar that invaded them, and then all the Greenbones, you know, their rivals, they had to like work together to like get these Shatarians out of their land and stuff, so that Kakon could be independent and free in their small little island. So yeah, so we have the torch and we have the spear, but then as time went on, though, that's why they were talking about like there was a war. We have the Greenbone warriors, but then as pretty much war is over and there's a new generation, the way the clans are now was different than it was back then, which you could definitely tell it here because events been happening in this book, and I'm just like, okay. So yeah, we have Lon, who's the oldest, who's the pillar. We have Hilo, he's the middle child, but the youngest son, who is the horn. And then we have Shay, who's the only daughter of the Call family. She's the youngest as far as the biological children are, if you don't call Andon. And if you don't include Andon, but if you do include Andon, then she's pretty much like the third, basically. She pretty much left home to go to Espenia, which is just another country. It's pretty much, I think this is really just like white people kind of country, you know, because she was just like, no, I don't want to be here. I'd rather be over there with my boyfriend, and I can get a Hispanian education, even though she was acting a mess, and then she decided to come home. It's not a spoiler. This literally happens like the first chapter we even get of her, is that she literally left Kakon to go to Spain for her boyfriend and stuff and get an education, but then things didn't work out as well, and she's going to come back. And, yeah, and then we have Andon, Emery Andon, who is a biological cousin, but an adoptive son into the family. He doesn't have any standings right now as far as the Greenbone clan is concerned, but he's trained. But in this book, he was training in the academy to be a Greenbone warrior to serve the clan of No Peak. Yeah, so that's the clans there, at least for No Peak clan, because that's what the point of even the entire trilogy, honestly, is the focus regarding the No Peak clan. You only get like the Call family side of all the events, any relation to them, any perspectives by them. It's mostly from the family, especially in this one. We only get perspectives from Lon, Hilo, Shay, Andon. Only goes far for this one. It's a little bit different. It's definitely different in Jade War as far as the structure and things. And I really like the world building because of the use of Jade. That, in the way that Jade is, you know, this is a fantasy novel. Like, the way that Jade exists is definitely for the fantastical elements there. But, like, as far as the use of Jade, the only way you can use Jade is if there's, like, certain principles you have to learn, which is why you have to go to an academy for years, just to, like, understand the principles and how to, like, build a tolerance for Jade to make sure you're able to, like, use it. Because the history here is that there's a lot of history going on, especially in Jade War, man. There's so much history. That's a whole nother topic, though, because, like, it's just a lot going on, and I feel like I really want to dig in deep, but I don't want to talk into spoilers, and I don't fully remember a lot what's going on here, because, again, the synopsis for this book here doesn't give too much on, like, what's actually going to happen, which is great, but it doesn't help me with reminiscing on what the heck happened in this book. But yeah, there is a clan war here because a character dies, and then No Peak and the Mountain are pretty much going at each other with this bloodshed. People have been dying. Trust me, no character is safe. Let me actually warn you about this. Let me warn you about this series. No character is safe. I'm just gonna say that. No one's safe. You think that you have this one favorite character? Trust me, that character is not safe. No one in this Call family is safe. I will tell you this. Even from the Mountain clan, not safe. Anyone could die. People have died in this one. People have died in this one, and I know for a damn fact someone died in Jade Legacy. I don't know who yet, but I'm about to find out. So I rated this one 4.5 stars because as much as I really like the world and started getting used to the characters and the magic system here, I wasn't too keen on the story itself. I mean, I was really keen on it. Actually, I was really enjoying what we were doing and stuff, although I was kind of confused because of the title wasn't really matching what was necessarily going on, even though, yes, we were talking about a city, because we're actually, in this book, we are focusing more on the actual city of Janloon, and like regarding to the entire country of K-Con, but we don't get too far past that until we get to the other books, because that's when we go worldwide here. This is definitely a really good, like, this first book definitely introduces the world and the history of just like K-Con and Janloon itself regarding green bones. So, and also the magic things is pretty easy. Like, it really is gangster, because they have to use martial arts in the way to actually like use Jade. And one thing too is for sure is that there's a lot more action scenes in this one, in this book, than it is in Jade War. Jade War is more of a political sense. There are action scenes, but like that one's more of a political sense. This one's more in the action sense because of the clan war itself. The actual like actually going out in the streets and killing people kind of war isn't here. Jade War is a different kind of war. It's still war, but it's a different kind of war because of outside influences and other political powers in play, which is why we're like, we can only do this kind of war in a different way. But as far as JC, I can't talk about JC. Sorry, I'm going to really talk kind of referencing Jade War because it really affects what happened here in Jade City, and I can't talk too much about Jade City because I don't fully remember too many things, but also I can't spoil some things either. I just really like this book. I rated it 4.5. It is really good ratings, because I didn't give it a 5-star because I'm like, this isn't like up there was like my favorite, but like it was getting close to it. It is kind of long as well, but I do like this paperback though. I just kind of wish though Jade Legacy was already in paperback, so at least all my copies can match, because it sucks to have the first 2 books paperback, but then the third book is like this thick hardcover that's $30, and I'm just like, why couldn't I just wait it? And mind you, I bought the entire trilogy before I even read it. Look, I already knew I was going to like this series. I already knew. Okay? I knew I was going to read it. I know I was going to like it. I just wanted to read, I think I was trying to read the Poppy War trilogy first, because I was in the middle of that series before I even touched Jade City. And I want to get to that one faster as well, because I already knew I was going to read Babel later on in the year. So it's like, well, we need to pace ourselves, because I can't really read a lot of series at this. I can't read long series like this, you know, close together like that, you know. I really want to take my series one at a time. So yeah, we have Jade City. Really good. I definitely recommend it for anyone who really is interested in like martial arts and incorporating that into a fantasy world, especially in a fantasy world that like you could think that could be inspired by real events of history and our real life history, but it's not meant to actually portray that. It's just its own fictional world, its own fictional setting, its own fictional characters, just doing its own kind of thing. And I actually really appreciate that with Jade City. And also, I really like the green. Like, I just really like the green. But yeah, that's Jade City. Let's get to Jade War. I say this because I literally just finished this like a couple days ago. So I have actually no, I finished this yesterday. So I have way more thoughts about Jade War. Now, Jade War, the war in this book is different because the war, sure, there's a little bit of like an internal war within K-Con, but now the war has been expanded upon outside of K-Con, which means we actually get to learn about countries that are out that's part of the Greenbone world, but outside of K-Con itself, which I think is really, really, really cool. So we still have the same maps of K-Con and Janloon, but now we have a world map this time. See that? You see how expansive the world is? There's more countries now. Now I know where other things are. Now I know where Spinia is. Now I know where Igaton and Toon and Ortoko and Shotar and the Ui1 Islands, Steffenland. I know where all these countries are now. Even though and also another thing too is that I read Jade City and Jade War via audio because I was trying to read these books while I'm at work. And I definitely do recommend the audio, for sure. I really like the narrator's voice. What was his name? I'm so sorry. I legitimately don't remember the name of the audiobook narrator. Hold on, let me see if I can find. I'm gonna find it. Okay, the name is Andrew Kishino. Kishino? I think that's how you pronounce it. Please tell me. Oh God, please tell me I pronounce that name right. But yeah, by Andrew Kishino, I think. That's what it says on the StoryGraph. So Jade War is basically about, what does it say? The Call, oops, let me do it this way. The Call family is locked in a violent feud for control of the capital of K-Con and the supply of magical jade that endows honorable Greenbone warriors with supernatural abilities. Beyond K-Con's borders, war is brewing. Powerful foreign governments and missionary criminal kingpins alike turn their eyes to the island nation and their most prized resource. Faced with threats on all sides, the Call family must put honor aside and do whatever it takes to ensure their own survival, and that of all the Greenbones of K-Con. So pretty much the war, Jade War itself, is actually the war on Jade, because countries are having interests of their own for Jade, whether it's because they're smuggling Jade, they're just stealing Jade. People that usually aren't, who were never trained to be a Greenbone, they're taking away Jade. I'm just like, what? So yeah, so Jade War is a different kind of war that I was thinking about. I was like, oh, this isn't necessarily about war between clans like Jade City. This is war on Jade itself. Like, these are actual countries, including KCON, that's trying to vie power over obtaining Jade and make sure they get to keep the Jade. And I think that is really, really cool to have a war like that, to have a book about talking about war as far as like the resource. Because trust me, I can definitely tell. I don't remember much about my U.S. history, but I know one thing for sure is that people go to war for many things, and most times sometimes it's just war on natural resources like oil. And I'm just like, do we really need to start killing people's lives? Apparently we do. Apparently we do, especially with Jade War, because Jade is so I want to say engulfed, but it's a part of Kekini's heritage and their culture that if foreign countries are interested in it and it starts smuggling out of their country, you know, that's not good. This is especially since Jade is meant for the Kekinese themselves and Kekinese people who even can wield Jade, because there are Kekinese people that I won't say they have no tolerance, but they can't use Jade because Jade doesn't work for them, like, at all. Jade does nothing to them that allows them to use their abilities. And they're called Stone Eyes, which there's a character named Wen who is first a girlfriend, then a fiance, and now a wife of Helos. She's a Stone Eye, so she, as much as like she really wants to be a green bone to help the No P clan, she can't really do that in the way of actual just like other green bones, because she can't use Jade. Jade does nothing for her. She can't use it like other green bones. So yeah, but yeah, we have that and things that happened down in the first book is tied into here, and that's the thing I really do like, is that this entire trilogy truly feels like it was written as one big story, and then you just cut it up into three parts. Like, there's a point between Jade City and Jade War that, like, if you literally went from that first book to the second book, it's like right where you left off. It's like the whole new chapter and was right where we left off. And I was just like, that's the perfect way to start off a book. You know, that's just the perfect way to do it. Start it off as if no time has passed since the first to the second, or maybe very little time has passed, you know? Like, I'm just jumping right in for whatever happened in the first book, right into the second book. I love it. I love it. I just love how that works like that. It really works cohesively as a trilogy. This one I really, really enjoyed way more than Jade City. This one I rated 4.75. So this is gonna be like a really close to 5 stars. I didn't put it as a 5-star because there's a particular character that did something so fucked up in the first book that I'm still surprised this character is still alive. Even at the end of the first book, I was like, why are you still here? And even Jade War, I'm like, please tell me this character. Please tell me this character. Nope, they still alive. When I tell you, I was so mad, I was mad. I read to the end of this with the epilogue, because this trilogy has epilogues and stuff. And, like, I was just like, this character is still alive? Miss Lee, why is this particular character still alive? If you read even Jade City, I think you know what I'm even talking about. It's already takes me spoilers, so if you didn't even read Jade City. But, like, there is a particular character that I'm just like, why are you still alive? This character really pisses me off because, like, they really did something really aggravated me in the middle of Jade City, and I'm just like, please tell me they're going to get their due. And no, they don't get their due. Not even in Jade War. I'm just like, why are you still alive? And also, this character doesn't really have much of actual... this character kind of does. Very cunning, and just somehow is just very lucky. But, like, I don't know. I truly believe that character is just an excuse. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Madam Lee is just writing ways to have this character alive. I don't know why. Like, I'm trying to read even I'm going to read Jade Legacy because I'm like, look, is there a thematic reason why this character is still alive? And why this character does certain things? Is this a thematic thing? Like, I'm really trying to figure out why this particular character is still alive. I can't grasp it. After reading 2 books, I don't know why this character is still alive. I do not know. I do not know. I hope there's a payoff in Jade Legacy, but if he is still alive by the end of Jade Legacy, I'm just like, Miss Lee, why is he still alive? This one particular character, will be why this book would not be rated 5 stars for me. Just gonna say that. Unless he just dies, there's no way I'm gonna give this series 5 stars. Even though everything else is really good for his characters and what it's doing, and I care about what's going on, and all the political intrigue, and everything regarding Green Bones, and I'm totally just, like, going for the gang stuff, because I'm like, yeah, I know this is like gangs, mom boss kind of way, but, like, I don't care. I legitimately don't care. I just love this world, and I just love being engulfed in this world. But if this character does not get if this character doesn't die, or just something, I'm not rating this series 5 stars. It'll be so close. Or maybe I could, but then it'd just be one gripe. It just won't be like an all-time favorite 5 stars. Because I really, really, really enjoy Jade War, and I legitimately cannot wait until I can read Jade Legacy. Although I do understand, though, for some people that when they did read the first 2 books, Jade City and Jade War, that they were a little bit hesitant to get into Jade Legacy. I think there actually are some people who actually did buy the entire trilogy or something. Or maybe they even got the limited edition, but then they haven't read Jade Legacy yet. And I'm just like, why is it all taking out so long? And then I read Jade War, I was like, oh, I see why y'all I see why y'all were hesitating. Why y'all hesitated. I see. But, yeah, though, I really do recommend this series. And also, look, see, they even give you headers to tell you which book goes in what order. I appreciate that. I think more publishers should start, designing their books to be like that, especially if they know that it's gonna be a trilogy, or even if they knew it's gonna be a duology. Just, just put on a thing saying that this is what it is. But maybe that's just for maybe that's just for the publisher orbit. I think that's just their thing. Because I don't really see it in any other publishing, other books or stuff like that. Except for it's like Orbit and stuff. But then again, Orbit is specifically for fantasy and science fiction, so yeah. I haven't really talked too much about characters because this entire trilogy is really character driven. Sure, there's I want to say there's an overarching plot where we get from point A to point B, but like there's a lot of things that are going on, and I can't really talk about it unless we get to spoilers, and I don't want to talk about spoilers yet until I've actually really read the entire trilogy. That way I can give like my overarching thoughts on like how all the characters have changed and grown, and like just to let you know, every single character is pretty much morally gray because this is clan stuff. They're willing to kill and die, so like, their morals are I won't say they're all that great, but some are definitely not. Some are definitely worse than others, but like as far as like my favorite characters of all time, for like at least my favorites as far as the No Peak clan, because actually no, I should just say favorites in general. Lon, my favorite. He's my ultimate favorite. Then we have Shay. I really, really enjoy seeing Shay, and I'm reading her chapters. I like Andon. I like Wen, because we actually do get some chapters a few chapters in her perspective in Jade War. She's not really seen, unfortunately, that much in Jade City, which I was really disappointed by. Was also another reason why I rated it 4.5, because it was like this one particular character. I was like, Wen. I really liked her, and I wanted to see more of her, but then it's like I didn't in Jade City. But then Jade War, we saw way more of her, and she got to do a lot more, so I was really grateful for that. So yeah, Lon, Shay, Andon, Wen, Itmadashi, who is the current pillar of the Mountain Clan. This girl is she's ruthless. Okay, she's a ruthless pillar. And I'm not going to tell how she even got to be a pillar, because that's a story you all need to read. Because let me just say this. She became the pillar of the Mountain Clan through will and blood. And I will not explain no further. That's all you need to know. I just know that I just really liked her. Sure, she's an antagonist. She's just a really good, strong, antagonistic force to the No Peak clan. And to, like, the pillar of No Peak as well. Yeah, and then Hilo, I mean, I have mixed feelings about Hilo himself as a character and as a person, because he's definitely more of one of those impulsive types. Like, he's the Horn of No Peak. So he's more of the military general, and he's more like, okay, let's go out there and, like, making sure that I do my business in person and all that things. So, like, I suppose I really appreciate that for him as being a Horn and stuff, but as far as, like, things go on and power shifting and stuff regarding No Peak, it's just like, yeah, even in Jade War and stuff, where he gets less of being a Horn and being something else within the clan, and it's like, yeah, man, you can't really work like the Horn, because that's not your job anymore, like, you kind of need to shift away from that. But no, he's just a character that's always been meant to be a Horn, and even when he does shy away from it, it's like, nah, he'll always go back to being a Horn. Which is why I really appreciate Shay, because without her, the No Peak clan would literally be in ruin. I'm going to assure you in that. Hilo would literally be screwed, and I'm also Lon without her to be around. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that's really all my thoughts. I'm definitely excited for Jade Legacy. Can't wait to get started on that. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to read it this month, but I'll probably start it maybe later on this month, and then finish it early October. Who knows? But, yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about the Greenbone saga so far. And I cannot wait, actually, to get started on reading Jade Legacy. But thank you for watching. I do not know if I'll be making videos like this in the future, but at least for the Greenbone Saga I will, because I will definitely need to talk about Jade Legacy and then reflect on the entire trilogy as a whole. And it'll have to be with spoilers, because that's the only way I can really talk about books, is when I really talk about the specific things, especially with this kind of a story. Like, there's so many things that characters do that, like, affect other things that happen in this book, and there's no way I can really talk about it in depth without going into spoilers. But hopefully it's not too spoilery in this video, and yes, hope to see you next one. Bye.